Do a poll? I get my own vote, bro. You guys want to do your vote? Log on to League of Legends, do your vote. We ain't doing a poll for my vote. That is not correct. Who should I vote for this time, guys? Trump or Biden? Like, come on, that's not how it works. I get my own. Let's see. Let's actually get this done now. First, let's do a 2022 thematic. Amplify core themes, Divine Light, Justice, and Order. Arclight was whack as shit. It was so bad. It was so bad. Gothic is my favorite out of these three, but I don't think Gothic was that cool either. But I think it's because when Gothic was a thing, they didn't have as much refinement on their skin team. So I think that the Gothic stuff is going to look a lot better if they have another crack at it. So I would be excited for Gothic. And Infernal, again, bad. Oh, they're fire. They're on fire. Another quick thing that I'm just going to drop out there. Arclight is just Sentinels. They look exactly the fucking same. The Sentinel skins look exactly like the fucking Arclight skins. We just got a fucking 57,000 fucking Sentinel skins. I don't want anything else that looks like that. All my skills are white, and there's white light coming from them. I don't give a fuck. Get out of here. That Arclight, lame. Don't want it. Infernal, the only reason I like Infernal, and here's where you're going to see that I have incredible bias, and that's completely fine. The only reason I like Infernal is because whenever they release a skin line, they give content creators skins, and the content creators that they give the skins get a free green chroma, and green fire looks very cool. That's it. That's the only reason I like Infernal. Besides that, kind of anus and butts. So I think I'm going to go for Gothic because it just looks like the best. We haven't made a Gothic skin in nearly a decade, before thematics was really a thing. We'd want to create a real universe for it on par with today's skin lines. A universe based around Gothic would be so awesome. So I'm going to vote for Gothic. Bada bing. Yes. Cool. We voted for Gothic. Now let's do the champ update. Let's see. I'm going to read what they have to say about all of them. Skarner. Reimagine visuals and theme. Keep his ult. Rebuild the rest. We'd want to redesign Skarner's Crystal Scorpion theme with fresh visuals and rebuild the kit with clearer strengths. That 100% seems like the right choice. Skarner is one of the least played champions, and honestly, he needs a lot of work. We'd aim to fully reimagine his kit and theme, similar to older VGUs like Sion and Urgot. Like his Bracker and Kin, Skarner's generic Crystal Scorpion fantasy is the relic of a bygone era, and we'd strive to give him a clearer, more exciting source of power. This would likely result in big changes to his visuals and story. As for his kit, the fact that his play rate remains so low despite past reworks is indicative of deep-rooted issues we'd aim to address with a complete overhaul. While certain basic elements and ideas might remain the same, you can expect his new kit to deliver on new and exciting themes in ways his current kit simply cannot. The thing about Skarner, and one of the reasons why I kind of feel like half of this is a little bit bullshit, is like, Skarner is a simple champion. He's just not good, right? He's simple, but he's not good. If you made him good, people would play him. Remember when nobody played Udyr, and then Udyr became good, and he became like 50% pick ban rate? People don't want to play Skarner. It's because you make him dog shit. Buff his ratios, right? Lower the cooldown on his ult, make his W, make him move a little bit faster, make him a decent character to play, and then people would fucking play him. It's not necessarily, oh, it's just people don't like the playstyle. Grabbing people's fun. The crystal thing is bullshit. We all agree the crystal thing is bullshit. But still, problem is, the only time Skarner was good is at the same time Udyr was good. And interestingly enough, the only time Skarner was actually being contested in pro play was the same time that Olaf was good. And Olaf directly counters Skarner. Like, they would just need to rework the passive. And then I think he's all right. But I think that Skarner definitely needs a rework visually and lore-wise, so that's why I think that's a very, very good vote, but let's keep checking. Nocturne. Embody a living nightmare, keep his iconic ultimate. We'd want to enhance Nocturne's living nightmare fantasy with better visuals and a stronger base kit to go along with his ult. Nocturne's an interesting case for a VGU. He's one of the most popular champions among new players, but most of them drop him quickly. This suggests Nocturne's gameplay and visual fantasies are strong, but he's not quite delivering on them. If we were to update Nocturne, we'd want to really drive home his promised fantasy of a living nightmare who engulfs his enemies in total darkness. Nocturne would keep his iconic ultimate, but we'd create a more deep and satisfying base kit to go along with it. We'd also modernize Nocturne's visuals so that he can finally live up to his title, the Eternal Nightmare. They need to make his ultimate better. I genuinely think that Nocturne is too straightforward. The idea that he can make everyone lose vision is fucking amazing, but he should be able to do more. with losing vision. You know what I mean? Like, he should be able to, like, send out clones of himself. Well, it says darkness. So, like, you see a clone of Nocturne coming from your left and it wasn't him. And then a clone coming from behind you and it wasn't him. And then he comes from above you. You know, like, he should be able to do something that really plays into the fact that you're paranoid when he's around. That would be fucking cool. It would be very cool if they did something that allowed him to play with the paranoia stuff. It should make you paranoid. What makes you paranoid about it? Oh, it's dark. He's coming. Like, they need to do more with it. Yeah, like nightmares. Like, make him send fucking clones of his allies. You know what I mean? Like, you see a LeBlanc that's not actually there. Stuff like that. It would be cool. Or yeah, or fuck with the audio or something. Like, see flashes from bushes. See, like, make people be scared. You know what I mean? Even if it's like a Kindred passive, where Nocturne chooses like one person in particular, the ADC now sees visions. That sucks. The ADC now sees visions. For the next minute and a half, the ADC sees random things. He sees characters that aren't there. He sees things attacking him. And the only way you could tell that they're not real is if you try to right click on the enemy and you can't click on it or some bullshit. You know what I mean? It would just be cool if he could do something to freak you out. Turn off the sound completely. Paired with Scion ult, you'll never know what's gonna happen. I'm kind of fine with Nocturne's kit. The reason why Nocturne's kit sucks is because it's not good to go against. It's awful. If Nocturne's ahead, you will feel that Nocturne's ahead. Oh, Nocturne got 2 kills bottom. You feel it. You know that Nocturne got 2 kills bottom. And then if you're fighting him and he puts his fear on you, guess what? You're going to lose that fight unless you can get away from his fear. And he has lethal tempo. And he has his W, which gives him attack speed with the lethal tempo. It's just all of that stuff combined. It's just going to blast you in the anus. I'm trying to figure out how I would make the Nocturne problem better. But it's just, he needs to be, you know, he needs to be better. He needs to be better. He needs to be more, not better, he needs to be more valid to play against. If Nocturne the jungler can become a mid laner and dominate the meta being mid lane, there's something wrong with it. Kog'Maw, double down on his hyperscaling, amplify his voidiness. We'd want to overall kit by amplifying his hyper-scaling AD face melter playstyle and make him feel more voidy. Now, this is the one that I know Nicky Boy's gonna hate me for. Scooch, I swear to God, if you vote for Kog'Maw, I will literally burn your shoes, each and every one of them. Okay, all right. Kog'Maw hasn't aged well at all. Kog'Maw hasn't aged well at all. His kit is kind of all over the place, torn between a hyper-scaling ADC and an AP-focused artillery champ. He also feels out of place among his more sinister Void brethren. And while we love our cute Void puppy, we'd want to make him feel more voidy. If we were to update Kog'Maw, we'd give him a full kit overhaul while amplifying his hyperscaling protect the puppy autofocus playstyle. We'd do our best to retain his artillery AP portion of his kit, but if push comes to shove, we'll sacrifice it to make his AD face melter part shine. Okay, now look, Nicky Boy is right in the sense that if Kog'Maw wins, that playstyle of Kog'Maw will die. And effectively, an entire character in the game will be removed. However, Kog'Maw is very unfortunately in the spot where no matter how you build him, it is incorrect. Let's look at somebody like Morgana, for example. Just about everything can work on her. Ludens works on her. Crown works on her. Everfrost works on her because she's a well-designed champion where everything can make her kit better because her kit already synergizes with itself so much. She Qs you and then she throws her W on you and now you have to stand in the W because you got Q'd. She could also ult after she Qs you and now you have to wait for the duration of the Q to run out before you could even try to flash away from the ult. Kog'Maw, if you build AD, essentially has no abilities. He has his W and then his E to slow you. Are you really going to use your R even though it costs the majority of your mana? Are you really going to R 3 times as AD Kog'Maw? No, it's a useless ability. Your Q, yeah, it's decent shred, but later on in the game, are you going to use that in between auto attacks? Or are you just going to stand still and Runon's Gwinsu's melt everybody? And then when you build AP Cog, that stuff is very strong and we've seen it in pro play a lot, but AP Cog was so unfun to go against that they ended up nerfing it into the ground, which is why you don't see it that much anymore. AP Cog used to be a lot stronger than it is now. Now it's not as strong as it used to be because it was too strong. So in order for them to keep AP Cog or make it better, they would either have to buff the ratios but give it a bigger caveat like the E stopping on the first thing it hits or some shit, or the R costing more mana. And even then, if you build AP, your W, though it scales with AP, you're not getting a lot of attack speed to use your W effectively. Meaning, Kog'Maw does need a massive rework. Does it suck that one of his playstyles is going to get destroyed and it's most likely going to be AP Cog? Yeah, that sucks. But the reason why AP Cog isn't as good as it used to be was because at the time it was way too fucking strong. AP Kog'Maw was a contested mid laner in a lot of seasons of pro play. His passive is also just the worst fucking ability in the game. It's just so bad. Holy fuck, it's so bad. It's so bad. Shyvana, amplify Dragon Warrior theme, make dragon form more dragony. We'd want to amplify the power of Shyvana's transformation while making her human dragonic forms more satisfying. You know what's crazy? Like, just copy paste what I just said about Kog'Maw. Just copy paste. While Shyvana's overall visuals aren't as dated as some of the other champs in this poll, she falls under the same category as Irelia or Akali champions who weren't fully delivering on their thematic promise before being reworked. If we were to update Shyvana, we'd want to bring the fantasy of a warrior who transforms into a fire-breathing dragon to life. In terms of gameplay, we'd want to make her dragon form feel more formidable and destructive while better differentiating it from her human form. Because right now, Shyvana's dragon form is just the exact same abilities as her human form, just empowered. The W now leaves a trail behind it, the E is now an AoE explosion, and the Q is the same, right? Except it's a cleave now. I understand them wanting to rework Shyvana. The problem with the Shyvana rework, or why I would prefer, I guess, the Shyvana rework over the Kog'Maw rework, is that Kog'Maw, like I said before, no matter which way you build him, you're building him wrong. But Kog'Maw can be effective as an AP mid laner. He's not great, but he can be effective as an AP mid laner, and he can be effective as an ADC. Again, not great in either of those retrospects or whatever. Shyvana is absolutely 100% useless as AD. She is 100% a useless AD character. So the way that she was built to be played before is just gone. So whereas Kog'Maw can do two things okay, Shyvana can do one thing great. And that makes you wonder, what's a bigger problem? Would you rather someone who could do one thing fantastic, which is her AP burst heavy E style, E, go back into the jungle, get your dragon form up, E, or Kog'Maw who could do, you know, two things, you know, I don't know. Shiv is better off. She has a niche. Shiv is better off. Shiv is better off because her AP style is pretty strong. It's pretty fucking good. AP Shyvana, they've already buffed it to the point where it's pretty fucking good. The R damage scaling is insane. The E is genuinely, I would say Shyvana's E is one of the scariest abilities in the fucking game when she's in dragon form. That shit melts you. It goes very far. It is very fast. It is very hard to dodge. She could end team fights before they start if she could just get one E off. And her W now scales her movement speed, making her harder to catch. So I think Shyvana's not in the worst place right now, but I do understand where they're coming from. However, I will say that this also plays into the dragon fantasy, right? Because right now, Shyvana plays into the dragon fantasy. You see her in human form, and it's like, all right, she's not that threatening. She does some damage. She could kind of trade. And then you see her in dragon mode. It's like, holy fuck, let's get the fuck out of here. I don't feel like Shyvana needs the rework as much as Kog'Maw or Nocturne does. I feel like her human form is kind of shitty with the AP build right now, but it's still the fantasy of like hit level 6, now you're a dragon. Run away from the fucking dragon. She looks so not scary in dragon form. That is true. She needs the visual update for damn sure. I agree with that. Tryndamere. Modernize gameplay and visuals. Keep split pushing identity. We'd want to maintain Tryndamere's identity as an enraged split pusher while modernizing his kit and preserving his ultimate. Tryndamere's had a pretty large and healthy player base over the years, and his character is incredibly important to the Freljord. That said, he has really started to show his age, especially when it comes to gameplay and visuals. They gave him a slight visual update last season, didn't they? To make his ultimate more apparent? I'm pretty positive they did. Or 2 seasons ago, I can't remember. We'd think he'd benefit greatly from a modernized VGU similar to Pantheon's opposed to a complete overhaul. If we were to update Tryndamere, we'd want to preserve his identity as a split-pushing menace with a crit item scaling. We'd keep his kit straightforward and simple, along with his iconic ultimate. Tryndamere's healing, early power expression, and effectiveness in teamfights are areas we'd want to dig into with an update. That worries me, if I'm being honest. Tryndamere, I just made a video on him, so I don't feel like I have to go too deep into it, but Tryndamere at the moment is a very, 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 very toxic gameplay design. He is a stat check on a stat check on a stat check. He is impossible to catch, he's impossible to kill, right? Reworking Tryndamere sounds like it'd be a good idea, but I don't know if that means they're going to make him stronger or weaker. Because if they make him stronger, that would suck dick. Because they're going to do what they did with Pantheon, like they just fucking set up here. And what happened to Pantheon when he got too strong? Pantheon, we wanted to modernize him, and now his shield works like a shield and this and that. Now he's dog shit. If you play Pantheon anywhere but support, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? If they buff Tryndamere, he's going to be removed from the game. If they nerf Tryndamere, I don't know how you can keep that character the same if you change any of his abilities, is what I'm trying to get at. Like, how are you going to keep Tryndamere the same if you change any of his abilities? His E would need to stay, because that is his entire playstyle is based on crit, crit, spin, crit, crit, spin, crit, crit, spin. They said they want to dive into his healing, but does that mean they're going to make his healing shittier? Like, is his healing going to be worse or better? You know, like, what are they going to do? The reason why I don't want to vote for Tryndamere, and I know it sounds, oh, but you're Trynd main, haha, you don't know what you're talking about. The reason why I don't want to vote for Tryndamere is because I feel like either direction they go is going to be the wrong direction. They buff him, Pantheon situation, he's now a support. They nerf him, who the fuck is going to play a character like this if he's dog shit, you know? So right now, if I had to split it all up, right? If I had to split it all up, I would say, God, I'm going to try to do like a 5-1. All right, we're going to count it upwards to who needs the rework the most. Number 5, the one who needs it the absolute least out of all of these. This is such a hot take, and I know it's such a hot take, but number 5 would probably be Shyvana. I think she needs it the least. She's still fine. Her dragon form is still good. She has a unique playstyle. It sucks that you can't build her AD, but to compensate for that, they gave her AP scaling on fucking everything. They've already fixed her to make her valid in the AP playstyle. Her Q has AP scaling, her W has AP scaling, and it gives you move speed based on your AP. Her E has insane AP scaling, her ult has AP scaling. So it's like, we get it. She's not the dragon fighter that you wanted her to be, but she is a unique champion that is already decent. She's fine. And a lot of people are saying, choose Shyvana, choose Shyvana. She's fine. I could open up the patch notes if you guys want. They buffed her and buffed her and buffed her to make AP completely worth it on Shyvana. So she's fine. Number 4 on who doesn't need a rework, it starts to get hard here. Tryndamere, I feel like Tryndamere is too big a problem in the game right now, but I just don't know how they would work. So I'm not going to put Tryndamere on 4. Like, he's still valid to play. He's a big problem to go against. He has a high enough learning curve that playing him feels satisfying, but still, I feel like he's in such a toxic spot for enemies. So I would say my number 4 right now, my number 4 is going to go to Tryndamere. It'll go to Tryndamere. My number 4 is going to go to Tryndamere because at the end of the day, this is like they're trying to do all of it. You know what I mean? They want to rework the identity. They want to rework some lore. They want to blah, blah, blah. Tryndamere is still Tryndamere. You know, he's still like this big hulking king. You know, he's still enraged. He still has the immortality bullshit going on. Like, his lore is still fine. He's very annoying to go against. And if anything, I'm down for a Tryndamere nerf for now. But he fits his bill correctly right now. So Shyvana has her place in the meta. Tryndamere has his place in the meta. I understand that Shyvana might need some visual stuff and lore stuff done to her soon, but Tryndamere, I think he's fine visually. I think he's fine lore-wise. He does need like a nerf or something to change how his crit works, but besides that, I think Tryndamere's in a good spot. So he's 4th. Number 3 on who needs it. This is another really, really, really big one. But I would say that number 3 would be, God, because you gotta factor in the lore. You know what I mean? Like, you really gotta factor in the lore. I'd say number 3, even though he desperately needs one, and all 3 of these people I'm gonna say desperately needs one, okay? The top 3 desperately need one. Tryndamere and Shyvana, they're like, whatever. They could survive another year without a fucking rework. They're fine. But the top 3 definitely need a rework, and I hope that all 3 of these people do get a rework. But number 3 would be Kog'Maw, because again, he's okay in 2 places. He's not the best, he's not the worst. If he gets buffed up by a Lulu, he could still melt your fucking face off. His E helps him kite with Gale Force. On top of that, he's good. If he's getting jumped on by a tank, his Q, from an AD facet, reduces resistances, right? So he could use that to kind of melt you down with the Kraken Slayer. His R, completely useless from an AD perspective, but everything else kind of scales. His Q also gives him bonus attack speed or some shit, right? So from an AD perspective, Kog'Maw, he needs work. And from an AP perspective, his ratios are far too low. If they buffed Kog'Maw's ratios, then I think he'd be fine from an AP perspective, but you can't really buff those AP ratios without making him the complete fucking monster that he was for a while when he was contested pick ban mid. So that would be why Kog'Maw's 3. Now, between these 2, it's so hard to choose because I want to say that Nocturne needs it because, okay, Skarner needs it because nobody likes his playstyle. But going against a Skarner feels fine. If he gets to you, it's because you let him get to you. You mispositioned, he had to run up, and for that reason, you're the one that fucked up. Nocturne feels so bad to lose against. Everyone here has gone against a Nocturne that was 11-1. And it's like, it doesn't matter how you're playing. He saw you, you're dead. He saw you, you're dead. That's it. It's such a bad and toxic like play style. And I know that they're saying when they rework him, they'd want to keep his iconic ultimate, but if they could just make there be a little bit more skill expression behind it, instead of him just, he ults you, he autos you, you're dead, you died. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the best feeling. It's so weird. On top of that, it's like with Nocturne, I don't know if you know this, you can't ward against him. So if he wants to ult you, he's going to ult you. It's just so not fun. It's such a not fun thing. So from a gaming perspective, Nocturne needs the rework because he is a trauma ban. He's a character you don't want to go against, because if he's ever in the meta, you will start banning him because you know how bad it feels to be one-shotted. So from a gameplay-wise, Nocturne is more toxic than Skarner. However, factoring in the lore and all that shit, my boy Skarner, come on. They destroyed Dominion, and then they gave him the heads of his fucking family all over the map. Catch the crystal spires. If you fight in these 4 areas, you're stronger. It's so bad. That passive, absolute dog shit. It's so terrible. His E, surprisingly good. His W, not terrible late game. His Q outputs a decent amount of damage, and his ultimate, very, very strong. But that passive is so bad. That design is not great. Skarner looks like a twig on that map. It looks like Caitlyn can step on Skarner. He needs a visual rework. He needs a lore rework. Like, he needs all of it. And I know it's playing favorites, but come on. They removed Dominion, destroying the Crystal Scar, which is literally his house. He couldn't go home if he tried. They removed the game mode. So I would say Skarner #1, because as we all know, Skarner is the saddest boy in League of Legends. And I would like to see him smile just once. So I'm going to vote for Skarner. Nocturne would be a very close #1, though. He would be very, very close. And it's because, again, in a game where you go against Nocturne, if the Nocturne is ahead, 5 people can't have fun. And that's always a bad spot for the game. 5 people cannot have fun. And it's like, but what about Tryndamere? When he's strong, 5 people can't have fun. Tryndamere, you can clench. There's this expression, right, in boxing and MMA, and it's, you get knocked out by the punches you don't see coming. Nocturne is always the punch you don't see coming. Tryndamere, you could brace for it. You could position. You could gale force. You could flash over the wall when he hasn't crit you, and now there's a 5-second delay before he could spin again because there's nothing for him to crit. You could brace for the punch when it comes for Tryndamere. When it comes to Nocturne, you can't brace for the punch. Meaning, and again, I will explain this one more time. When you play against a Nocturne, you play differently. You play differently. Even if you don't notice it, you're playing a lot differently when you go against a Nocturne. Because you're like, Nocturne's on the map. I can't go into that bush. I can't walk that way. I got to sweep. I'm going to wait for my support. Hey guys, let's stick together. You guys want to walk single file line. I'm going to stand next to my ADC so that they don't get blown up. The CC around Nocturne is mental. It's mental CC. It's not crowd control in the game. It's not a knock-up. It's not a... No. It's mental CC. You genuinely play the game freaked out when he's ahead. And that shit destroys you. So that shit needs to be worked on a little bit.